BTMreview.com. Another episode of the Retro Rampage podcast. I think we're on episode 13. Big news this week for the world of current generation consolers out there. Fallout 4 finally got an official trailer and kind of started off with like a hype clock counting down, and I think everybody knew it was going to be gameplay footage or a trailer of some sort. But anyway, it's been, I think it was 2008 when Fallout 3 came out. Obviously in continuity with that one and not New Vegas, but yeah, so it came out, and the big news, the only reason why we're talking about this is because it got a lot of backlash. I mean, of course there's some people excited, but I think it's funny that there's a lot of people that are all uptight and panty-wadded over the graphics. Did you hear about that, Zach?
No, you go ahead and play this on us.
It's just, okay, so this just speaks volumes of how spoiled gamers are today. And once again, it speaks volumes for how much that I love retro games. And this is why I love the golden era of gaming, which I still believe to be sort of 1985 to 95. I take it back. Not, you know what? I'll even go as far as saying 1985 to 2000 because I love the PlayStation 1. But,
right, yeah.
You know, we're so spoiled now, especially the younger brats. Graphics are everything.
Yeah.
Now people are bitching that, you know, I think it's basically making use out of the same graphics engine that 3 did. And I get it. You want a little bit of growth. It's like you wait 7 years and this is our sequel and it doesn't look any better. You know, it's not everything. Gameplay really goes a long way, but that just tells you how shallow games are these days.
Oh yeah,
it's
See,
all
that.
Yeah,
that never like that's always been like a second kind of. It's always about the gameplay first and how fun it is, and then graphics are.
Well, just think about it. I mean, whenever they have these big releases, like you know, E3 happens every year, and they have these big video releases. What is it they show, and what is it everybody oohs and ahs at? It's these big graphical fucking achievements. You know, they don't even show in-game footage anymore, hardly. When everybody shows a trailer that's supposed to hype people up, it's not in-game footage, and it's this big fucking cinematic. I'm like, why are we excited for this?
It's like pre-rendered CGI.
It's like, why are they showing us this? You know, so you have Fallout 4 who actually gives us an in-game graphic trailer, which, you know, they should. Yeah. And people are bitching and moaning about it. I'm like, how good are the graphics do they have to get? Like, where's the limit here? Like, how good are they going to get before people stop caring about that? Before people are going to stop being impressed? Because we're already seeing the margin gap get smaller. Like, the jump from PS4 to PS3. It's just getting, the days of the NES, the days from the Atari to the Nintendo, that's gone. The days from the NES to the Super NES are gone, and the days from the Super NES to like the N64 are long gone.
Oh yeah, I don't think we're ever going to be like as blown away by a console jump as we were back then. No,
and that's why it just doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't. So you know what? If these people love Fallout 3, they love Fallout New Vegas, and they're going to sink 300 hours into this, they're going to like it no matter what. I just think it's fucking nitpicky. I think it's nitpicky that these are the standards, because the more people, sort of outcry about something like this, the more it's going to seep into the minds of these developers and these game companies. Like, oh, well, this is clearly what they're all about. We got to keep pumping out all these fucking Call of Duty games.
Oh, it's already done. It's already seeped into their minds and everything. That's what sucks.
Yeah, it's we've already mentioned this before, but it's interactive movies. Interactive movies. We need beautiful, lifelike. I mean, to create all these graphics, man. I mean, it's cool. I'm not saying it's not cool, and it definitely works for some experiences. Like, I think the whole cinematic approach, looks really cool for something like Alien Isolation. I think, when the new Metal Gear Solid comes out, it'll probably work because we're talking about tactical, espionage. You want to feel like you're in the game. That's fantastic. That's great. But, now it's like we're using all these actors to do mocap stuff, and the people have to look exactly like real people. And sometimes I just miss old sprites, man.
Yeah.
Stuff that we could make right now, just with some programming and stuff. And because, it's pretty clear. But back in the day, you play a game like, let's say, Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy VI. They had nothing to work off of. They had sprite characters and dialogue, and yet they still made us really gravitate towards these characters.
Right.
So they had to umph up the story. They had to make them super live with vivid, funny dialogue. Use Spoony Bard and stuff like that. Even though that's wacky translation on the West side of things, but I'm saying they had less to work with in the graphical department, so they had to compensate for it somewhere. And the music, man, I mean, they couldn't incorporate these orchestral scores in these games, so. It's like, wow, we've only got 2 or 3 MIDI tracks to work with. We got to make these fucking themes really good.
Yeah.
And we've lost it. Yeah, what?
Yeah. Well, plus, like, whenever they bring in, like, motion capture and stuff, then you get, like, the extra, like, kick in the nuts when they're like, oh, yeah, and Solid Snake, that guy that had this voice, he's not going to have that anymore.
And that hurt, man. I mean, you know what? That's not exactly relevant news, but it's still relevant for me because, man, the people... Okay, David Hayter, that's the actor's name. There's nobody that I can think of that was as big a celebrity in the little kind of niche video game world than him for like game nerds. Because in the PlayStation 1, everybody knows Dave Hayter. Nowadays people know like Nolan North. Is that his name? The guy who plays Nathan Drake.
Oh, yeah.
But like everybody knows David Hayter because he was the voice of Snake. And yeah, it's a shame, man, because we got, like you said, we went this massive jump with mocap, and Hideo Kojima needed, I needed more than a voice actor. I needed a physical actor. It was kind of a, first of all, that sounds like a dig at David Hayter because he was an actor, for God's sakes.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen the Guyver. Fucking Dude. Guyver 2. Yeah, but he's been in stuff. He's an accomplished screenwriter. He wrote X-Men, co-wrote X-Men 2, and he wrote, I believe he wrote The Watchmen all by himself.
Oh, really?
I think he did that one all by himself. He's an accomplished screenwriter. Now he's a director. So I think it's just kind of a slap in the face saying, I need a guy who can really physically act. That's kind of bullshit. And
he's actually going to be one of the voices in Bloodstained.
Is
too.
He really? You know what?
Yeah.
Thank God, man. I'm a huge fan of his work, and he's a great guy, and he's a great guy too because he's very self-aware and he doesn't shy away from his fan base. He totally eats up the Solid Snake shit.
Oh, yeah.
He'll go. I mean, even though he's writing screenplays and he's doing directorial stuff now, he'll go to these conventions, man. And if a fan asks him to do it, he'll sit there and leave you a voicemail. This is Snake. He'll do all that shit. He doesn't care. Oh yeah, fucking. How about a smoke? He'll do all that fucking bullshit. My Snake ain't half bad, is it?
No. You should do. We should put out a fan version whenever the new game comes out when you just overdub everything.
That ninja was great, Fox. But so I love it when celebrities are self-aware like that. So anyway, and it was also a dig. I get it's all business and it's really none of our business or, of our affairs, but just hearing his side of the story, he was pretty classy about the whole thing. He could have really mudslinged, but he didn't. He was honest though, saying, man, I it's like we've worked together for so long and he never got the heads up. He basically found out over a dinner, it's just like he was never filled in and it was just done really unprofessionally. And
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, so now I was kind of holding out that maybe they were going to merge it, and it's like maybe they want a different actor to play Big Boss because in the chronological scheme of things, the next game after Phantom Pain would be the original Metal Gear.
There's actually fans that have come out with theories that maybe you're playing as a Decoy Octopus.
Oh, Decoy Octopus. Oh,
the guy that ends up dying.
I don't think so. That's kind of extravagant.
That's just how fanatical the fans are, that they'll come up with these crazy things.
I mean, just chronologically though, the next thing would be a remake of the original Metal Gear. And it sucks because I'm usually against remakes, but man, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, they could use remakes because back then the vision couldn't be realized in 8-bit. They really couldn't. And now they could just put both those games together and make a big grand epic. And I thought if that was going to be the reason why they changed voice actors, because you've never really had, I mean, at the end of Metal Gear 4 you had both of them on the same screen together, Big Boss and Snake, and they had different voice actors because you don't want to have two David Hayters. I get that. So I was like, okay, well, if they're going to do this game, and then the next game was going to be a retelling of the whole I can't fucking spit it, Outer Heaven and Zanzibar. then it was going to be great, because then we're going to have David Hayter with Kiefer Sutherland, and him going up against him, a young Snake or whatever. And
Metal Gear 2 is actually a really good game too.
Yeah, Metal Gear. Yeah, I've played them. Metal Gear 2 is when he goes up against Big Boss. Metal Gear 1 is when he's working for Big Boss under his wing.
Right. Yeah.
But and then it's like Metal Gear 5 could leave off with the cliffhanger. It could leave off with the twins being born. The twin snakes.
Oh yeah.
Or it could even leave off a little bit later, and he's being trained, and it could just end off on maybe, because how the old Metal Gear games, they always had like the after scenes Easter egg.
Yeah.
It could be that whole thing where that's what I thought would happen. Maybe it's too predictable for Hideo Kojima's taste, but I thought you played the whole game, and then after the credits roll of MGS5, they would say something like, it would be an audio phone call like they usually do, of them offering Snake, a young Snake, this job. From the first game. Cool. Yeah, like, kept you waiting, huh? All that shit. And that would just make you go nuts and be like, all right, now I'm not so mad about it anymore, Yeah. But now that Hideo Kojima fucking parted ways with Konami, and Konami's probably going to make these games without him, who knows if it's even a fucking good thing. Last time I heard is that he was looking to outsource and somebody to remake Metal Gear Solid again. I'm like, dude, this makes no fucking sense.
No, I think he was saying remake Metal Gear is what I...
He said Solid. I read it. I read the article. Okay. He's like, I want someone to make the first Metal Gear Solid, because he says, you know what? I basically wish, he said Metal Gear Solid drives him nuts, basically, I think is what he was saying, basically. Because he had this, it's the best game in the series. But he says it drives him crazy because he's always directed and produced these video games like a filmmaker. Because, you could tell he does these things like a movie, he's a film fan. And he said only now are we at the stage where I can realize a game and realize its full potential and really craft it like a film. So basically, he would like for someone to execute Metal. That's his only regret. He's like, I wish I would have waited. He's like, I wish I could have made Metal Gear Solid in like the PS4 days when I really could have made it to a movie. But I don't know. Sometimes when he opens his mouth, I kind of wish he wouldn't. It's just like, I don't see why he can't accept the beauty of the original Metal Gear Solid. But I mean, I get what he's saying, but. Oh yeah, then it's like, I don't know. I think the same way. I think Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, that would make a pretty epic movie game. I think that would make it's a great story there. You could properly tell the story that preceded all this crazy stuff in Metal Gear Solid that most fans didn't get. You could tell the story of Naomi, Gray Fox, and all that shit in Zanzibar, and it could be really epic. And then you know what? So be it. If you want somebody to sit there and make a Metal Gear Solid, then call Metal Gear Solid Remake the direct sequel to that. Just kind of start it all over again. End it where it began type of thing. I'd be totally cool with that. But
well, if they start getting other people to make them, we're just going to end up with another a bunch of other Metal Gear Rising games.
Which some people said was fun for what it was. I never played it. Just a hack and slash.
Dude, the worst part about it was the controls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to me that's like the biggest no-no in making a video game is if the controls aren't good. Then
in a game like that's got to be the control. I mean, when I think of a hack and slash game, I think of a game that's maybe fun for about 15 minutes or at least one playthrough. And the only reason it is fun is because it's so much fun to just hack and slash people, and the controls are fluid. I think, and so if they fail at that, then yeah, why bother? And it always looked like it was really fluid, but I never played it. I think of a game like X-Men Origins Wolverine. A lot of people like that. That adaptation, and the only reason that game's, it's just a God of War clone. I mean, it's fun how like Hugh Jackman and everybody did the voices. That's a lot of fun, but the game is pretty mediocre if you take out. The only reason it's fun to play through once is it's so much fucking fun just to slash everybody. It never gets old. And it's just, the controls are fun and they're fluid and there's blood going everywhere. But if you take that out, it's just a pretty empty hack and slash game. But anyway, Fallout, graphics, people being grumpy. We kind of escaped the plot there. Grumpy.
I was going to mention this too. I thought this was funny. It doesn't even just go beyond like with graphics anymore. Now people like get pissed off if it's not 60 frames per second.
Oh, they do. That's the biggest annoyance. It's like, yeah, the 30 FPS and the 60 FPS, and people make mountains out of molehills about that.
The way they say the numbers, it's almost like the
it's bits.
16.
It's bits all over again.
That's what I was gonna say.
Bits don't mean shit anymore. I mean, look at it like this. We had the Nintendo 64 when we had the PlayStation. The PlayStation was 32-bit, and the Nintendo 64, they literally branded 64 in the name. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's why they changed it from the. What was it called? The Ultra 64. And then it went to. Well, I mean, either way, they were going to have the 64 in the name. I think that was a marketing thing. Because
the 64 was actually a bigger number than what the PlayStation had, wasn't it?
The PlayStation had 32. So did the Sega Saturn. And I'm thinking the only reason they would put 64 in the title like that was to capitalize, because the bit wars were a big thing back then. It's like it basically is another way of putting better than you in our title. And well, I mean, clearly people didn't give a shit back then, did they? Everybody bought the PlayStation. It was like 4-1.
Oh yeah.
And granted, the PlayStation had CD audio and stuff like that, and they could hold long games and stuff. But as far as graphically, I mean, when you take a game that was on both systems, I know the 64 looked a little clunky and it looked a little foggy in some of the renders. But when you take two games that were on the same system, the 64 games look smoother. They just did. You take.
They didn't have loading times like the PlayStation
They didn't have loading
too.
times, man. They didn't have loading, which, when I was a kid, I didn't care. Like, you take Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Remember that was on the Sony PlayStation and the N64, and they were compensated on both versions. Yeah, the PlayStation was on a disc, so it could fit all the stages, and it could fit. You could actually have all four bosses. You had Goro, Kintaro, Shao Kahn, and Motaro. The 64 version, because of space restrictions, they had to cut out Kintaro and Goro, and this used to bug me. I was and they had to, and on the PlayStation version, you could push select on a few of the characters and play as classic sprites from like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2. Now, I used to be like, when you're a kid, you're like, more is better. And I was like, oh man, the 64 is ghetto. You can't be fucking Kintaro and Goro. Now that I'm older, I'm like, dude, these fucking characters suck. They're big lunks that can't move, and they can't fucking win a fight to save their life. It's just shovelware. Back to shovel. It's just shovel content. And you know what? The N64, because of its strengths that nobody ever looked at, there was more colors. The colors, it just got better colors. It just looks better. But also, there was no loading, like you said. The loading in the MK Trilogy PlayStation version is painstaking. And especially when you're playing 2-on-2 and then a character blows up and you have to wait loading, and then your second guy jumps in, your tag partner or whatever. It just talk about taking you out of the moment. But on the N64 version, they had 3-on-3 combat, which was exclusive, and I love that, man. There's no loading, man. It's just awesome to have like somebody jump right into your uppercut and they explode, and your next guy is jumping right out. It just keeps the action going. So that's all I care about these days. And I'm not a Princess Parker when it comes to grocery shopping, and I'm not a fucking graphics Nazi either. So hopefully people will get over it. I think they will. I think everybody's going to go out and buy it. And I never played Fallout. It looks like the kind of game I'd be down with, I guess, if I let myself get addicted and sucked into something like that. But I don't know. We'll see what happens when the new Elder Scrolls games comes out. Let's see how much better that looks. If it looks just like the last one, man, people are probably going to shit bricks. But people are still going to buy it.
Isn't there already an Elder Scrolls Online game coming out?
Oh, well, that's not canon.
Yeah,
and that game was a mess.
Are you a fan of the Elder Scrolls game?
I won't play them just because I'm afraid of getting addicted, and I just don't have the time to sink into that stuff. My brothers are obsessed with them, man. They have sank in so many hours. It's
I enjoy
disgusting.
those games.
I think I know I would. That's what I'm scared at. But they already came out with the online game. My brother got it, and it was a wreck, man. It just crashed. It was buggy as hell. It was an abortion. So I guess they're redoing it. They're fixing everything, and it's going to come out in the PlayStation 4 or whatever. But that aside,
that's what sucks about this generation is they put out games before they're done, and you end up getting like 32 gigabyte updates.
Yeah, you could just you could fix your mistakes so they don't give a shit about not making sure everything's perfect before it hits the sales floor. I think everybody is a little bit more keen on making deadlines now because they have that safety net of, we'll just fix it with a patch. But when you fuck up the launch, that really kills the morale of your game. That really hurts.
Exactly.
It does. It's like you almost get insulted, and there's almost irreparable damage if your fucking launch goes bad. I mean, I think Watch Dogs suffered from that. I think there's a lot of
what was that? Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah, all these games that just like fucking crash and they're just absolute shit. Like I said, everybody's money focused. Everybody's pumping all these dollars into the marketing, feeding the hype train, and making sure it's out on that launch day that they've been marketing for, so they can get maximum profit in that first week of release. That they don't care about having the best product presentable on day one. It's just, and that's why I'll always stick by Nintendo, man. They'll push off games like a motherfucker. They do it all the time. Yep. You know what? But at least they're putting out a product they stand behind whenever that date comes out. So God bless them. And you know what? Nintendo's living in the Stone Age. So they don't really do a whole lot of fucking updating shit. And if they do, it's just general stuff. It's not like they overhaul the game. Nowadays, you get like you're playing Street Fighter 4 or whatever. They'll release patches that completely change the fucking fighting styles. Oh, this character's overpowered. This character's, is kind of broken, whatever. They'll fix this stuff. And it's just like, it's not even the same game anymore. Like, nowadays you go on these IGNs and these Polygons and these GameSpots, and they review games differently now. They review games like they should, like just pre-release. And then they review them when they come out. But then it's like they always have review updated when they fucking fix it with the patch. They fix their fuck ups a little bit, and they always update reviews. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. You can't make a movie. If I make a movie and I make an Ooey Bowl movie and it fucking sucks, I can't just give you a patch and make whatever I made suck a little bit better. And I could just make the New York Times change the review and make it a little nicer. It just doesn't.
Unless you're George Lucas.
Then you can go in and add Hayden Christensen to all the old fucking Star Wars movies.
I actually remember hearing a story where I guess somebody that worked on Call of Duty, he patched some of the guns because I guess they were really overpowered, and I guess a bunch of fans started sending him death threats on Twitter. It's so dumb.
And I bet you they were all 8 years old.
Probably.
Fucking spewing out death threats. But what do you guys think? Are you guys all Princess Parkers? Are you graphics Nazis? Like, what do you need to feel like you've experienced a great game? What is it you require? For me, I've said it many times over and over again. I play very, very minimal new games, and when I do, most of those happen to be like your Nintendo games, your new Mario Kart, your new Smash Brothers. But every single year, I play the same old staples over and over again to sort of relive what made me happy as a kid. I play Super Mario World, aka the best aged game ever. Yeah. That game
the best Mario game
It's ever. The best Mario game ever. And yes, it's better than Mario 64. And yes, it is aged better than Mario 64. As much props as I'll give Mario 64. But you know what? Super Mario World, still to this day, if it came out today, I would have so much fucking fun playing it. The controllers are perfect. The platforming is perfect. The difficulty level is perfect. It's fun. It is just fun, and you don't get stressed out. And innovative and colorful. I mean, Nintendo nails it. They nails it. They realize that very simple design and bright colors fucking equals a hit.
Yep.
And it makes it attractive, and people want to play it.
Yeah.
Continue.
I always like their unique visual styles when they do that. I'm excited to play that Yoshi Woolly World.
Oh yeah. Woolly World.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, their games. I still feel in my gut that Nintendo's going to have the last laugh. And at the very least, man, their games age better than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now, Grant...
I remember people talking about how they hated Wind Waker because it was cel-shaded. And
10 years later, everybody loves it all of a sudden, don't they?
To me, it's like, the super realistic-looking games, they age really quickly. And things that have really unique-looking, art styles...
Well,
stay
exactly. Five years ago, everybody was jerking off Fallout 3, I'm sure. But 5 years later, it's too good. We haven't moved because you're spoiled. You have these people that are always being shoveled the next best thing every week. And it's just, they lose the plot, and they're spoiled, and they always demand more, and they need more to be satisfied. So if you can just find the beauty and simplicity like a Mario World, or Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past or whatever, man. That's why I love games like Shovel Knight or whatever. Then you're gonna be a much more satisfied gamer. But yeah, dude, when they keep updating Call of Duty every fucking 2 months, of course you're gonna be pissed when it's like it doesn't look much better. I mean, like I said, they're putting all their eggs in one basket. It's like they're blowing their wad in a technology standpoint. It's like, you guys are not gonna, eventually the well's gonna run dry. It's like, just be Nintendo, stretch it out a bit, check out Mario 3D World and just fucking bask in how beautiful that game is. Because that's what Nintendo does. But yeah, that's anyway, the theme of this episode was clearly, are you a spoiled gamer brat? Are you pompous? Is your nose in the air when it all comes down to graphics and stuff like that? Clearly, it's not all of you. There is this indie revival that's gone on with games like Shovel Knight, where people are praising sort of the retro look and the retro MIDI soundtracks, and that's fantastic. I can't help but think these are people bandwagon hopping. It's like, a game gets a lot of buzz. Hey, everybody all of a sudden likes it. So basically, maybe if we all just say how amazing the next shitty looking game looks, and that's really fun, maybe everybody will actually come around, because everybody just has to be so influenced by what everybody else says. But anyway, are you a Princess Parker? Are you a spoiled brat? I'm saying yes, you are. At least I'm assuming so. But if we're wrong, let us know. Let us know what you think is the best age game of all time. Actually, Zach, that'd be a cool idea for another little episode next time. We could talk about the games that we think have aged the best. Because even some of my favorites, I can't say have aged the best, That's definitely a good idea. So definitely fill us in on what you think games age the best, age the worst. And we'll catch you next time. I'm Aaron.
I'm Zach.
Out.